Warning, may contain content inappropriate for children. Also, I realized that I gesticulate with my mouse, and there is no mouse. Just bear with me. That'll be gone next time, I promise. Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome to Baby's first YouTube video. I'm really excited. This is Neo Scavenger. I'm doing it because it just came out with its 1.0 update. If you're here, you've probably heard of Neo Scavenger before, and you found me through the annals of YouTube somehow, which is great. I'm real excited. Without further ado, let's get started. So if you don't know Neo Scavenger, well, we'll get into that here in a minute. These are skills. You're going to need these to survive later. These are good things, these are bad things. Now, I have a mod installed which gives me this asthmatic thing. It's called Neo Scavenger Extended. Basically, it adds a whole bunch of stuff. Makes it a lot harder, I think. And it makes my video unique, which is the real reason why I have it. So, there's these little pips here that say how many of these points that these things cost. The red ones give you that amount of pips back. Myopia and I think Sleeper came with Neo Scav Extended also. But these two are basically freebies. And I'm going to throw this one in just so you guys can see if you haven't played with mods before. Myopia basically just means you can't see as far. Sleeper means that when you sleep more deeply. I use this because, like, if you're asleep, they're going to sneak up on you anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Asthmatic, basically, you have asthma. Asthma? Asthma. I'm just going to pronounce it like ASMA, asthma. You guys probably don't care. Suffers from sporadic asthma attacks, which have a small chance to get worse and a smaller chance to be fatal. To go worse? I'm assuming that means to get worse. I've never played with this. Well, I played with it once and then it killed me, so never played with it again. Oh, good gracious, we have 20 points. Whew. Oh, that was probably really loud, I'm sorry. Medic allows you to identify pills, so I always take that, because basically you can sell pills, and this makes the late game survivable. Or the mid-game, I suppose. It makes the mid-game survivable. I should have got some water before I started. I'll have some water in the next video. So if I start coughing, or if the mic goes silent, it's because I've started coughing. In fact, I'm going to cut the recording right here and go get some water. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Okay. So, funny story. Basically, 2 seconds after I cut the recording, I started raucously coughing, so it's a good thing I cut it when I did. Medic, it's good. I like it. Hacking, skill at manipulating computers. Now, note that it says computers. This doesn't actually let you do anything else. Well, except for the dialogue things. But mostly it's just for getting laptops unlocked. That being said, it's good. It basically makes hacking worthwhile because you can't just find unlocked laptops, basically. Well, you can, but it's hard. Or not hard. It takes a long time. This is going so well. Lockpicking, you can make and use lockpicks. It's really useful. Just always take this. It should be worth more than 3. Strong is mostly good for scavenging, but it makes things less safe, so I don't know. I don't tend to use it because it's so expensive now. Melee, it'll keep you alive in melee combat. That's really all there is to it. There's probably some dialogue options. There's dialogue options for basically all of these. Electrician, as far as I know, it only allows you to fix the light in the place where you start out at. So I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's that great. You'll probably argue with me about that. But I don't think it's that great, because you can't turn the light off. Makes your base camp basically raidable, so I don't like it. Tracking, it's okay. There's a lot of dialogue that requires tracking. Trapping, on the other hand, is actually useful. So it says can trap and prepare animals, but what that really means is you get a bunch of extra trapping crafting abilities. Like you can just start fires out of twigs and bark, which is the most useful for cooking meat. It's worth taking just for that, but there's a lot of other stuff. Like you get more meat when you skin a corpse. An animal corpse, you guys, come on. And I have 3 left. Oh, it's always a wash. Whether this one is better or this one is better. Or not a wash, but a debate with me. I think this one is better. So this one, you need less food and water, but you don't heal as fast. And this one, you heal faster, but you need more food and water than normal. But you also get 2 points back. So it's debatable which one's actually better. I'm going to take metabolism and tracking, I think. And then there's some other ones. This one lets you identify bullets and also actually hit things with ranged weapons. If you don't take this, basically, don't worry about ranged weapons. Just sell bullets and guns. And don't even bother with bows. Botany allows you to identify things. So it makes plants safe to eat. Like there's berries and mushrooms and stuff that you find on the ground, and it'll just say some berries or some mushrooms, unless you have botany skill. Athletic, I don't know, I never take that. Less fatigue per move can run. Oh, okay, so less fatigue per move, that's pretty good. Hiding, pretty much useless, which is why it only costs 2 pips. So there's a hide button. Basically, this makes the hide button better. Basically, don't take it. Mechanic, you can, as far as I know, mechanic gameplay wise, alright, so when I say gameplay, what I really mean is like the map screen gameplay. And so there's like gameplay and dialogue. So it's a little bit ambiguous when I say gameplay, but that's what I'm talking about. Gameplay wise, I think all it allows you to do is like attach scopes. There might be some other stuff, but there's some dialogue options that require this, so I don't know. You could take that if you wanted to, I guess. Tough, basically you are a tank in battle. So, but it costs 4, and I think, I don't know, maybe it's better for defense-wise than melee, but melee you get attack and defense. And dialogue options, which I don't think you get as many dialogue options through tough. So I'm going to go with this. Let's confirm. You wake up disoriented, slumped over the base. Oh, let's start over. You wake up disoriented, slumped over the base of an empty cryosleep pod, still damp from cryo fluid. The thick dust from the floor clings to your skin, leaving a clean spot on the ground where a large 05 is painted. Across the room, there is an open door to the hallway and a broken window leading outside. Just as you gather your wits, an unearthly scream erupts from down the hall beyond the doorway. Something is coming. Fast. So this is the dialogue. Gives you some flavor text, then you get to pick a thing to do. These are the skill options. This is a non-skill option, so like you'll get cut on some glass or something if you just jump out the window. Sometimes just pressing space is an option, like doing nothing is a thing sometimes. But as far as I can tell, it doesn't really tell you when pressing space will be different from selecting one of these options. So you can hack the door to stay shut using a common maintenance override code. You can emergency dump another stasis tank, or you can fight the thing. Now, I'm going to fight the thing, and I'll show you why in just a second. You instinctively drop to a defensive stance as it bursts into the room. The beast stands on its hind legs like a man, but has the appearance of a ragged, predatory dog. It looks right at you and shrieks with a sound that freezes your blood. Despite your fear, you put up a pretty good fight. You move like you've done this before and avoid most of his lunges. You even manage to deliver a blow that sends the beast reeling in a haze. Taking advantage of his distraction, you knock him to the ground and deliver a fatal blow with your knee. Though wounded, at least you're alive. With the rush of adrenaline fading, you turn your attention back to the strange room. You should probably finish up here in case there are more of those things. You're standing in a cryostasis room, though it looks like you might have been the only survivor. So let's search the little console for details. This is Anton Blubber. I think he's a reality show star. You can dump one of the, with the medic option, you can dump one of these two people. And I think this is the reality star, and this is the CEO. So they've got some information, but the relevant information is right here. There's our name, the date we were committed, and a random account number for Detroit Savings Bank. And with tracking, we can search for clues. The dust on the ground makes it easy for your trained eye to pick out one set of tracks in particular. They seem to belong to a humanoid dragging something, probably a mantle or cloak. It was here fairly recently, probably in the past 24 hours. It entered through the doorway, walked to your stasis tank, went to the control console, and then left. So that pattern leads me to believe that that's what this is. This little triangle here. You'd bet good money that it wasn't the dogman you just faced. Alright, let's climb out the window. You decide to go outside and see if you can figure out where you are. Avoiding the broken glass, you step onto the sill and outside, rustling some plants that have grown wild in the area. It's cool outside and damp, probably morning. The distant report of a gun catches your attention. You cock your head, listening, but it's over as quickly as it started. Obviously, you're not alone out here, though that doesn't necessarily comfort you, and it shouldn't. Basically, you can assume everybody's out to kill you. It's pretty safe. Pretty safe assumption, that is. You're in the parking lot of Gaige's. I'm going to pronounce that as Gaige's, by the way. Sorry if that bugs you. I don't know how it's really supposed to be pronounced. You're in the parking lot of Gaige's cryo facility, but everything looks disused and in disrepair. Plants have pushed their way through the pavement and over the facility. Worst of all, nothing looks familiar. You don't remember this place or even who you are. Your frustration mounts, but you catch it and put it in check. Might as well take a look around. And this is what I meant by gameplay screen. Now, let me explain this here. This is your moves left. This is how many things you can do. Now, you'll see just above this here, this is the log, I guess? Yeah, I'm going to call that the log. So just above the log, there's a thing here, and it changes, and this is the movement cost. That corresponds to this. So you see all of these places cost 1 to move. Just below that, oh, and then the main menu button, of course. This is, you see various bars here. Now, more to the right is good, and more to the left is bad. This is your hunger, it's how much calories you have in your body. This is your thirst, it's how much water you have in your body, well rested, how much sleep you have under your belt. This is a big deal. When this gets to the bottom, you just like fall unconscious. So don't let that happen. This is how much stuff you're carrying. The lower this gets, the more it'll impact your move meter. So if you're carrying more crap, then you're not going to have as many moves per turn. I think this is your temperature, like your body temperature. This is how cold it is outside. Oh, and it says you are getting colder. Oh, neat. I didn't know that. And this is your, I don't know, your hurt meter. More green, less hurt, more red, which it turns colors when it gets more and more to the left. It turns more and more red. Means more bad things have happened to you. So this is the main map, which is this out here. This is the mini map, which I don't know, you can use later in the game when you explore it. Sorry, that's just me trying to get back to the mini map is pretty sensitive, so I forgot what I was talking about. I'm gonna be honest. Moving on, minimap, self-explanatory. This is your ability screen. This is the things you chose in the beginning and your flaws. Um, by doing things and purchasing things, you can get more on both of these. Or maybe just this one. I don't know if you can get more flaws. But the points don't tally up anymore, so you're going to see more things up here, and it's going to add up to more than your pips, basically. This is the crafting screen, which we'll get to in a minute. This is your inventory screen. This is the stuff on the ground. This is what you're carrying. Oh, and this is how you know in the beginning that the console was talking about you. Excuse me, I just burped. So if there was a funny sound, that was it. So it says Philip Kindred on the little plastic dealy bob, which is how you know that's who you are in the console records. This is the medical screen. Basically, you can apply bandages here. Campsite screen. So you can move items from the ground into a campsite, even though this is literally just the ground. And then I don't think people steal from campsites, so that's a good way to be a hoarder if you wanted to do so. And then vehicle screen, you can get things like, you know, those little plastic sleds that you used to have when you were a kid. Mine was red, but they're orange in this game. Shopping carts. Travois? You know the things that's like a piece of hide stretched in between two long branches? But you can get one of those and put it here too. So, the two main screens that we're going to be on in this game are this one and this one. Because this is how you move around and this is how you organize your inventory. Let's get into the crafting. So, you see your skills in the crafting menu? What? So, if we move this dogman corpse over here and glass shard, we're using the glass shard to basically cut up the dogman. So you can get fur in there and also just meat if you don't want the fur. If you already have all of your fur needs met, you can just do that. Now, if you put trapping over here, then you get more stuff. I think you get the same amount of meat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the little meats doesn't really matter. They don't do much for you. You actually get less little meats. I wonder if that's an oversight. Huh. Anyway, and then these fats, I'm not rightly certain what you do with those. Oh wait, no, you can boil them, and then you get like usable fat, and you make bread out of it. But anyway, we're going to want to do that because of this item. So you can put this dogman fur coat on, and not only are you stylish, you'll notice that this meter went up. So basically, we're not going to freeze to death immediately, like we normally would. Also, you can eat raw meat in this game, which I do most of the time. I rarely ever actually cook things. That's probably going to bug some people. So just be forewarned about that. Now, you see this little... Oh, I didn't explain these buttons. So, these are some actions that you can do. So this is the hide button I was talking about earlier with the hide skill. You can run, which I almost never do because it causes this fatigue meter to go down really fast. So I'd recommend not doing that. Then again, I'm kind of bad at this game. Oh yeah, moving forward, that's something you should be aware of. I'm kind of bad at video games. Love them to death, kind of bad at them. So you can hide your tracks. I haven't found either of these to be that useful, except for hide when you're sleeping. It tends to make sure you wake up in the morning. But hide tracks, I haven't found a definite use for. Spy, you can do, but it doesn't actually tell you what the thing is. Like if it's a person, then it won't tell you if that person is going to try and murder you or not. So I don't really use that a bunch. And scavenge, which we're going to do right now. Oh, you'll also notice that on a bunch of these, there's a little thing in parentheses next to it. Well, not those, but like that. There's a one letter. That's the hotkey. So you can scavenge the place that you first started out on, and if you have medic, and I think the other one is eagle eye, then you can actually find things other than just this window. Now, because I have medic, I found a medical kit with some bandages and some amoxicillin. Now, that's antibiotics. Now, because I have the medical trait, you'll notice that before I dumped him out, this bottle was worth like $2, and just the pills are worth $200. So it's a weird thing. You have to empty out the pills in order to find out how much they're worth. Do that before you get to a shop, because I think if you empty it out, then you get the lesser amount if you empty it out of the bottle into the shop. Also, it'll tell us that there are antibiotics here, so we don't have to keep the bottle. If you don't have the medical skill, all you have to do is memorize. You just don't get the words in parentheses, or, yeah, parentheses. So you just have to memorize what amoxicillin is, basically. Little cool thing, you can put a little face wrap on there, and it'll be a crude air filter for you. And on the medical screen, which is C, yeah, you can put a bandage on yourself. You can also put alcohol on that, but I wouldn't recommend that because that just causes huge amounts of pain, basically. Alright, so let's take our first step. As you approach the town, there is no sign of activity. Buildings stand in ruin, vehicles are overturned and blackened with fire. Explosion marks radiate outwards from walls and pavement. In the distance, strange-looking creatures circle in the sky like monstrous leathery vultures. Thank goodness, I've never encountered them, so if you're worried about them, I mean, keep worrying, because it'd be really cool. But basically, they're not going to be a problem. The world has drastically changed from what you knew. Some sort of cataclysm has befallen Earth, returning mankind to the Dark Ages. Dark Ages with guns. And along with it, your hopes of finding a warm meal and some answers. You decide to look around and scavenge what you can from the ruins. Okay. Oh, and that's not going to happen every time we take a step. I mean, it'd be cool if it was kind of like a choose-your-own-adventure type deal, but I think it would be more annoying than anything else, so I chose not to do that. So the little magnifying glass means that you can scavenge there. Looking around you, there appear a fear. I'm bad at talking. I'm sorry, you guys. Bear with me. This is my first ever YouTube video. Looking around you, there appear to be a few areas worth checking out. So there's some houses and a shed. And if we click on one and scavenge it, you'll notice 3 bars here. This is how likely it is that something bad is going to happen, or not going to happen, depending on how you look at it. The lower this bar is, the more likely something bad is going to happen. Sneak doesn't matter too much. It basically just means it'll attract the attention of things that are in the hex tiles around you in the other screen. In the gameplay screen, as I label it, generally. And the loot bar, this is how likely you are to actually find things. And that is, after all, what we're trying to do, so you want the loot bar to be all the way over here, ideally. And this to be all the way over here, and this doesn't really matter, so sacrifice all the sneak you want to, trust me, it doesn't matter. For now, we don't have anything to add down there, so we're just going to go. No useful items found this time. Your activity likely alerted nearby creatures. So this means that we failed our sneak check, and this means that we failed our loot check. Which is fine. You're going to see a lot of that. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not that bad. Alright, you found some things, and also didn't alert nearby creatures, so that's the other thing, the other end of the spectrum. So we found some scrap metal, which is most definitely... Ooh, that has a nice sound. That's part of the Neo Scavenger extended mods. Scrap of paper. So this is things that you can craft on the pure white papers. You could just read these and write them down, or you could put them in your hand. And I don't know if you have to put them individually, so I'm just going to do it individually. But then on the crafting screen, it'll write it down for you. Oh, an actual... Oh. So in the base game, these only have 4 internal slots, so be wary of that. You can boil water in these, so they're worth taking. Oh, butts. I want to take those binoculars, because then I can see farther. But I can't put the soup can in. That's unfortunate. I'm going to have to leave those for now. So you see we're out of moves, so we have to press spacebar and end our turn. Or you can press this over here, but I recommend just pressing spacebar. Oh good, it's raining. So that's going to be really annoying, but more because the sound than anything else. Oh, I didn't mention it, but there's a little deal over here. It tells you the weather conditions and also what time it is. And they've got little logos for all the different times, and also the weather, I think, overrides it. So we're going to scavenge. Oh, and you'll notice we have 3 here because we have an injured foot. That showed up down here. I didn't say anything at the time, but it did. Storage shed. Now, these are generally really bad for loot, but it's very unlikely that something bad will happen. So, yeah, that's kind of what I expected. Now, you'll notice that these things are black, and when I moved here, these 3 turned to something that I could see. Now, this is blacked out because basically it's dawn, so there's not enough light to see there. So we can do a little walking around, which means it's either a forest or a hill, and in this case it's a forest. And that was actually a misclick, just FYI. So when you end your turn somewhere dark, it brings you down to 1 move per turn because it gives you the blind debuff. You're going to want to move out of there because any combat that happens... Oh, that's a wild dog, by the way. They're good. They're good for food. That sounds horrible, but they're feral, so they don't belong to anybody. And also, you can get pretty hungry in this game. There's kind of some desperation that sets in. And now it's light, so you see this one popped up that I could see it when I ended the turn, because I couldn't see it last time, I don't think. Now, you'll notice that forest and hills cost 2 movement each. So what we want to look for right now is either some more of these sort of urban tiles or a tile with water. Oh, this guy is probably going to try and kill me. Scrap metal knife. Ooh, that's new. I don't know. I don't know if I want to tango with this guy, because I just have a punch. He's pretty far away, so maybe I'll just threaten him. Yeah, see, he's a BadMutha, which basically means he's out to kill you and everyone else in the entire world. These guys are just universally bad. And by bad, I don't mean, like... Basically, they're a bad guy. So, you could run, but you might trip if you run, so I would suggest casually walking towards the enemy. Ooh, or you could run away. I almost never run away, which is probably a bad thing. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if I want to tango with this guy. Ooh, but he does have some nice pants. I really like to have those pants. Oh, you'll notice that, see, he's holding the... I assume that's the scrap metal knife, and that's a metal pan. I should explain the combat screen. So these are the actions that you can take. Right now I'm barefoot, so that's my only condition. Right now he's barefoot and vulnerable, which basically means if I attacked right now, it'd be more likely to hit him. This is the entity name you're fighting. This will always say player. This is the weapon that I have. This is if I'm visible, and this is if I have cover. This is if the enemy has cover, the enemy is visible, and the weapon that the enemy is holding. I tend to look at this side of the screen more so than this side of the screen. It's personal preference. This is how far away the enemy is from you. These are kind of rando. They basically change from turn to turn, so... Like, don't ignore them, but... Actually, scrap that. Just totally ignore them. They do have bearing on the combat, but you don't have any control over that. And, oh, you can see what time it is. I didn't know that. So you could offer to talk or offer ceasefire, but because he's a bad guy, he's going to be like, no, I'm just going to murder you. So, this is from the mod. uh, the Neo Scavenger extended mod. It's like the opposite of Threaten. Threaten makes them want to run away more so, and this one makes them less likely to run away. This one, not that. So let's threaten, because we want him to run away, ideally. Oh, and the Dogman fur coat makes enemies more likely to run away. It's one of 2 or 3 items that do that. I mean, let's just keep threatening him until he gets closer, I guess. Because right now he's like way out of range. So basically, combat is just pick an option and press space a whole bunch of times until they get close to you. And then once they're close to you, it's basically you're locked in to combat. So I'm gonna try and run away now. Sorry, I was just reading that. If you want me to read all of these aloud for the first time I hover over them, let me know in the comments, cause I don't know. I'm new to this whole thing. Like I've never edited a video before, or done any sort of commentary, anything. Like, and I get really kind of bad stage fright, so I never really did theater at all. So this is my first foray into anything even remotely resembling that. Um, let's run away. I think running away sounds like a good idea. So because this is going to be... Oh, well, I guess I'll get into that in a second. So this is a special thing because I have some skill. I forget which one it is, but I think it's trapping because I always have this, and I always have trapping. So basically this one's really good. It can knock them down, and it hurts them, and it moves them away from you. So it's basically really good, and it's ranged. So I like to do that whenever you see, because he's recovering, which basically means that he skips his next turn, and that's really good. I suppose we should give him one last threaten before we, I don't know, open up a can of whoop ass, I guess. This is Grapple. It came with the Neo Scavenger extended mod. Basically, as far as I can tell, it's dumb, and don't do it because it'll get you killed. That being said, feel free to try things on your own. I want to do good this time, which is why I kind of tried to run away a little bit. Oh, and you'll notice that my combat, or during combat, my fatigue is going... I'm getting more fatigued, I guess. My little meter here is going down, is what I'm trying to say. And this is the passing out meter. So combat actually can be kind of bad. Oh, I just did nothing. Ooh, leg trip. Oh, he parried, which is not always available, so I won't be able to show it to you. But basically, it's like dodge, except better, I think. So we're going to trip him. Oh, he parried. What? What a D. What a butthole. Alright, let's brutalize this Joker. So these are your attack buttons. This one, you attack 3 times, but you skip your next turn. I suggest you don't do that, because then you don't have any reactionary combat. It's bad. You can't run away next time, basically, or you can't dodge or do what you need to do. And I find that this one has a higher hit ratio, so you should do this, is my advice. Now, again, I'm bad at this game, so feel free to yell at me in the comments. What, I died? What? So, he launched He parried, and then I tried to trip him, but he dodged. That was the last thing I knew. So he launched a flurry of blows at me and hit. Oh, flurry of attacks. Sorry, it's flurry of blows is a monk ability in Dungeons and Dragons, which I play occasionally, so that's where that came from. He needs a moment to recover. I need a moment to recover. He tore open my lower stomach with a scrap knife stab. I'm coughing up blood. I'm stunned. I'm in minor pain. He shredded. That's from his first attack, or his first hit from his attack. BadMutha shredded player's lower left arm with a scrap knife stab. Player's in severe pain and having trouble concentrating. He shredded my chest with a scrap knife slab. It doesn't say how I died. Usually it'll say how you died, like from massive internal bleeding or something. That's probably what this is. And these are all my stats. Basically how good my meters are, the stuff that I took in the beginning. Oh no, this is my skills. So what is this? Player suffers from... Oh, that's the negatives in the beginning. Okay. So there's my first episode, I guess. Alright, well, thank you for watching. Like, comment, dislike. If you didn't like it, make sure to let me know. Especially since I'm just starting out, dislikes are every bit as helpful as likes. They hurt a little more. So, thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Let's be real, guys. Really appreciate the views. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys next time.